If you're training bird dogs, a solid bird launcher can really accelerate your program. Lately, I've been using the DT Systems509 and the Dogtra RR Deluxe. Here's what works, here's what doesn't, and which one I reach for every time.
Good.
We'll cover build quality, ease of use, reliability, sound, and a few trainer-specific quirks you might not hear anywhere else, especially when handling different game birds in real field situations. First of all, we're going to start with the DT Systems509. This launcher's heavy-duty basket and springs are built pretty tough. It comes fully assembled and ready to go, except there's no batteries included. You'll have to buy the 9-volt square batteries to get it up and running. The launcher's cavity for the bird is fairly large, a little bit larger than the Dogtra. I've used it for pigeons, quail, chukar, and even some hen pheasants. The roosters, on the other hand, are a little too big, but you have a little bit more versatility in size of the bird that you're going to put in the basket. That said, the transmitter and receiver housing feel like it's lightweight plastic. Not flimsy, but definitely not as rugged as Dogtra. Dogtra's basket is smaller and more compact, but still very well built. You'll need to assemble it, unfortunately. That's kind of annoying for the amount of money you're paying for it. I don't like the fact that you have to assemble everything. It takes a bit. There is a video. I'll leave a link in the description below so that you can go right to it if you choose Dogtra. The transmitter feels higher quality. It's definitely a tougher plastic with a dial that clicks firmly into place. There's really good haptic feedback and the numbers are very visible for each launcher. You've got 4 buttons, 2 for tones and 2 for launcher triggers. And the system's built to handle multiple devices on a single channel. The Dogtra uses a solenoid style trigger to release the launcher. What that means is it's much faster and instantaneous versus the DT systems, which uses a motorized unit to pull on a cable that pulls the launcher lever. Why that's important is that the amount of time that it takes for the motor to rotate, it takes just a little longer for it to initiate the launch. Does that mean it's a big difference from the Dogtra? No, but it does require a little more time to anticipate before you launch it. So if you got a dog running in on the launcher, you need to be a little bit more ahead of the dog than you would with the Dogtra. So I checked online and discovered that the costs for each of these launchers is relatively uniform across different websites. But you're looking roughly about $350 for the 509 and about $399 for the Dogtra RR Deluxe Quail bundle. Now that we've covered the features, we're going to move on to ease of use. The DT Systems509, pairing the receiver and the transmitter together was a little tricky. Not really impossible, but it did take me a few times to get the process down and actually be successful. The launcher, again, uses a motor-driven release, which takes a touch longer to fire. So if you're timing drills tightly, you'll have to anticipate that delay. Resetting is a bit of a pain because after every launch, you need to remember to hit the red button that you turn the unit on with to reset the motor. That way, the next time you go to push the button, it will release. So you have to hit that button every time after you've launched it to rearm it. The DT unit is heavier than Dogtra, no question about it. So if you're carrying it across the field, be prepared that it's going to wear you out a little sooner. However, I do like that trap door function in the back that gives you some versatility in your choice on maybe what bird to put in there or take out, and the fact that it's already armed, ready to go. It's a little easier to secure the bird in there than trying to fight with a bird outside from the top and trying to get it into the launcher. In terms of range, both units, the DT and the Dogtra, have plenty of range. I've not tested the limits of it. For the purposes that I use it for, I'm just never going to be going out past a couple hundred yards at best. So for me, I don't have a problem with either one of the units' range. You have to be mindful that you can't launch and expect it to launch if you don't have line of sight. So you have to be kind of able to see where that launcher is in order for it to work. So linking the Dogtra transmitter to the receiver was a little easier, a little more simple. There's more available information online, it seems like, for Dogtra that to sync those units together. So it seemed a little smoother. The removable receiver is a huge win. You can use it with other launchers without buying a full second unit. You can add on another launcher using a jumper cord or add a zinger winger. Why that's important is that you have the two channels on one launch position, and it allows you a variety of different options if you're trying to simulate different field conditions or retrieving conditions. So that's a pretty big plus. The other thing about Dogtra's plus is that they have rechargeable batteries. They're internal rechargeable batteries, so you don't have to worry about bringing batteries along with you. However, if it dies, then you're kind of stuck. You have to bring something along that will allow you to charge the internal batteries for both the remote and the receiver. The only issue, when it runs low, it may not have the power to launch the larger pheasant basket. I've noticed that when it starts getting low, it'll start showing a different color. It'll show red instead of green, or reddish orangish color when it's getting low. And at that point, I know it probably won't trigger the larger baskets, like the Dogtra pheasant basket. When charging these units, just remember that the Dogtra charging system does not have an indicator when the charger is done or the battery is complete charging. It just shows a red light, and if you leave it for an hour or two, it'll still be a red light. So you don't know when the batteries are actually fully charged. I would say give it an hour or two and then use them. But you don't want to leave it on the charger all the time, because very likely it'll develop a memory and you'll have some issues down the road. Probably one of the most uniform things about both of these launchers is that the launch speakers are very loud. So if you run into a situation where you wonder if you turn the launcher on, or if you are trying to locate the launcher for whatever reason, you can hit the locate button and the beepers on both units are quite loud. So you should be able to find them. And I've used it a few times when I've put all my launchers out and then I question myself whether or not I actually turn the unit on. So I'll hit the locate button on each launcher to make sure that I did my job. Sometimes I don't. Now I know I got one out there somewhere that I got to find and turn it back on. If you're training alone like I am most of the time, or you're working multiple dogs, the Dogtra's faster reset, the size, and versatility give it a little bit of an edge. The DT509 definitely holds its own. However, it just isn't quite as versatile. However, that trap door is solid. Man, if Dogtra had the trap door, game over. But if you have the DT system, I don't see any significant reason why you need to switch. Stick with it. There's a lot of other things you can do. But if you do have the Dogtra system, man, the ecosystem that comes along with it, it can really elevate your game. If you've used either of these units, or perhaps something else, I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments. I have also included in the description below some affiliate links for each launcher. We do get a little commission from that, and it does help offset the costs of production. If you like this episode, please think about liking and subscribing as well. It really helps our channel out. And remember, hunt hard, trust your dog, and make some great memories.